All right. All right, all right, all right. Welcome back. Welcome back together. How's the afternoon? How's the energy? Got a little caffeine? Got a few ramblers? I don't see any vodka yet. Okay. I'd love the next hour, hour and a half. I think you're really going to get a lot out of it. Before we jump in, a couple of things. We're going to have an exciting day tomorrow ahead of you. You will present in 3 forums. 1, a board. 2, an earnings call. And 3, you'll spend some one-on-one direct time practicing your media interview skills. Regardless of the presentation setting, you must communicate with confidence, and that's the thing that we really want to reinforce. So the prep motion that you've been in with mastering content, pulling together your key messages, we really just want to see you turn that corner tomorrow and communicate with confidence. So to help you be a more versatile communicator, also to adjust to any form of media and those 3 settings that you'll be in tomorrow, and really let your personality shine through, we are excited to share with you today Michelle Ann Johnson. Michelle is known as the Speech Queen. She is a very gifted public speaker, facilitator, coach, and consultant. She's worked globally with so many Fortune 500 companies. I tried to sort of memorize them, and they're across too many sectors for me to have done that. You may notice, if you haven't already, that something looks familiar about Michelle. She's also an accomplished actress in her own right, and has guest starred in over 30 top television shows. I'm going to let you guess the ones, a prize, meaningful prize, at the barn later, to anyone who can tell me all 5 of the shows, or tell any of us all 5. Please join me in welcoming Michelle Ann Johnson. We are so excited to have her. Thank you.
Good afternoon. How you feeling? Yeah? I want you to turn to your neighbor, high-five them, and say, "We're landing the plane. We're landing the plane. Coming in for a landing," okay? Now listen, I want you to look on this slide here. Can anyone tell me what these 2 ladies have in common? Actresses, yes. Anybody else? EGOTs. Everybody know the EGOTs? They've won Emmys for their work on television, Grammys for audio recordings, Oscars for film, Tonys for the stage. Think about how versatile a communicator you have to be to master each of those media. And not only that, to be able to reach different kinds of audiences, right? Rita Moreno, she won her Oscar for the original West Side Story, a movie with very adult themes. She won her Emmy for her work on The Muppet Show, a children's show. Now, believe it or not, you all have a lot in common with Rita and Whoopi. As CFO, she went, huh? Yes, as CFOs, you're asked to communicate in different media, like tomorrow and the next day, where you're going to be doing stand-up presentations and on-camera interviews. You're also asked to communicate to different audiences. Think about your current roles. Think about all the different stakeholders that you currently have to influence. And that only gets more diverse as you move up in the organization. So the theme for today, and hopefully for tomorrow and the next day and beyond, is versatility. I want you to broaden how you think of yourselves as communicators. Because when you're versatile, you can walk into any room, talk to anybody at any level, and be effective, influential, and get results. And isn't that what we're all going for? And to do that, I'm going to help you by sharing some of my tips and tricks from my time as an actor, like Rita and Whoopi, where I'd have to transition from doing a musical in a theater, drive to a movie set, and have to do a small dramatic scene, right? So different media require different types of expression. So I want to encourage you all to stretch outside your comfort zone. This is going to be interactive. I'm going to be asking you to do some things. And it's really about stretching, right? Because it's when you get beyond your comfort zone, that's really when the learning happens. So dare to look silly. Dare to look silly. It's going to be so much more fun. Everybody on the same page? Yes? Okay, fantastic. Let's start with delivery. I'm sure when you think about delivery, the biggest complaint is what I like to call robot delivery. Everybody know robot delivery? What would have happened if you'd walked in and I had started like this? Good afternoon. Can anyone tell me what these two women have in common? EGOTs, yes, they've won Emmys and Grammys and Oscars and Tonys. I'm going to teach you how to be a versatile communicator. I'm very excited about this topic, can't you tell? I'm sure when you learn more about it, you'll be as excited as I am. Yay. What would have happened? What would have happened? You would have tuned out, right? You would have went, oh my God, we're in for the longest hour of our lives. That's the problem with robot delivery. It makes it hard for people to stay engaged. And I don't care how important your message is, if people are tuned out, if they've tuned you out in their minds, your message is going to get lost. And I know we like to think, nah, that's not me. You know, people love when I talk. But I know from experience, when you're tired, when you've got those back-to-back meetings, when you're nervous, that robot delivery can start to creep in, right? So to inoculate you against robot delivery, we're going to steal some ideas from this guy here. This is Konstantin Stanislavski. He is the father of modern acting. When you hear people talk about method actors, you know, the Robert De Niro's, the Christian Bale, those actors that really get into their parts, they like lose a lot of weight and they take drugs to get into their part. Well, they don't take drugs. You know what I'm talking about. They do these extreme things. They're talking about Stanislavski's method. And he said this: spectators come to the theater for the subtext. They can read the text at home. They come to the theater for the subtext. They can read the text at home. So he's making this distinction between text, which is the words that you say, what you're explicitly saying, and the subtext. The subtext is the emotional undercurrent that gives the text its meaning. So for example, I can say good morning 3 different ways. I can say good morning, or good morning, or good morning. Same text, different subtext, different meaning. And how did I communicate the subtext? With my delivery, by changing my face, the tone of my voice, and my physicality. So the big idea here is your text, the ideas, the information, think about the case study, all the details. That text may be perfectly clear to you, the speaker, but it's often ambiguous to your audience. They've never heard this information before. They need you to clarify the meaning with the subtext, with your delivery, by changing your face, the tone of your voice, and your physicality. So subtext is really about being more emotionally expressive. And I know that the E word can scare some people, emotions, especially in a professional setting. It's very easy to think emotions don't have a place in professional communication. But we're not talking about being overly broad and dramatic. We're just talking about a few clicks, just 5, 10% more emotionally expressive. It's going to make a big difference on the impact that you have with your audience. So how do you do that? Here's a question you can ask yourself. Is this good news or bad news? Because we should communicate good news differently than bad news. Subtle shift. I was working with a client of mine on a presentation. It was very, very heavy on the stats and the numbers and the details. She got to a section and she said, last year we saw a 20% reduction in this particular KPI. Robot delivery. Last year we saw a 20% reduction in this particular KPI. And I went, is this good news or bad news? She went, oh, it's great news. We didn't know we could hit that number. See the change in the delivery? Oh, it's great. Voice lifted. Ah. Smile on the face. I said, you see that emotion right there? We need that when you deliver that piece of information. Otherwise, we have no way to evaluate it. So is this good news or bad news? Let that shift how you communicate that information. Another question you can ask yourself, what do I want my audience to feel as a result of this information? And this really gets to the heart of subtext, because if you want them to feel it, you have to feel it first, and then you communicate it in your delivery by changing your face, your tone of voice, and your physicality. Another client of mine, helping him with his presentation, he kept giving me the robot delivery at the very beginning of his talk, driving me insane. Finally, I said, "What do you want your audience to feel when they hear your introduction?" And he went, "I want them to feel welcomed and appreciated." I said, "Beautiful. If you want them to feel welcomed and appreciated, you have to make them feel welcomed and appreciated with your delivery. So how would you do that?" And he stood up a little bit taller, chest came out. He became very warm and dashing. I might be dating myself a little bit. Anybody remember Fantasy Island? Smiles, everyone, smiles. Welcome to Fantasy Island. He became Mr. Rourke from Fantasy Island. Just from this one prompt. What do I want my audience to feel? So, if you want them to feel reassured, disappointed, delighted, trusting, curious, whatever that is, you have to make them feel that way. And so these two questions, good news, bad news, what do I want them to feel? These are quick hacks to get you emotionally connected to your ideas. That's what this is really about. When you are connected emotionally to your ideas, you won't have to think about, what do I do with my hands? What do I do with my face? How do I walk again? You know, sometimes you forget how to walk when people are looking at you. You won't have to think about all of that. Connect to your ideas. The brain, the body sync up. It's why we've been following Stanislavski for 100 years. It's acting 101. It really does work. Now, I think I've been talking enough. It's your turn. I love this. This is where the interactive part comes in. For this, I'm going to ask you to stand up, if you would. You're not going to need anything in your hands, just going to need your instrument. And I need you to pair up, to just grab the person next to you and claim them as your partner. We're going to need pairs. You're already kind of in pairs, but pair up. If you do not have a partner, raise your hand. If you do not have a partner, we're going to need 2 and 2. Okay, yes, please. Got this gentleman over here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You need a partner. Can we get one of the Deloitte folks? Oh, we got it over here. Perfect. All right. Person A in each pair, raise your hand, please. Person A, raise your hand. Person A. Person A. Congratulations, you're going first. Yay. Thank you. Don't worry, person B will go as well, but person A is going to start us off. Okay, we're going to have some fun with this text-subtext idea. And we're going to use Mary Had a Little Lamb. Everybody know this nursery rhyme? Mary had a little lamb, right? This is going to be our text. It's not going to change. I'm going to give you the subtext, and you're going to let that change your delivery. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to say Mary had a little lamb like it is the scariest story you've ever heard. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, her lamb was sure to go. Are you frightened? You should be, right? Or I can say Mary had a little lamb like it's the saddest story. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, her lamb was sure to go. Right? You get the idea. Person A, you're going to start us off. You're going to do Mary Had a Little Lamb, and you're going to try to get an effect from your partner. See how this gameplay, see how it goes? So, person A, turn to your person B, face each other. And again, this is about stretching. Stretch outside your comfort zone. Stretch your face, stretch your voice, stretch your physicality, okay? Person A, you are going to use the text of Mary Had a Little Lamb, and you're going to say it like it is the funniest story. You're going to make person B double over, laugh hysterically about Mary and her little lamb. All right? Off you go. Try it. I'm seeing some laughter. All right. Person B's. Do you think person A can go a little farther? A little farther? Okay, I want you to do it one more time, and I want you to do it a different way. Person A, do it a different way. Make them laugh, like really just look as stupid and silly as you possibly can. Go for it. All right. That seemed a little better. Look at the laughter. All right. I see how this is going. All right, now person A, since you got the funny down, now I want you to deliver Mary Had a Little Lamb like it is the most rousing story you've ever heard. I want you to make person B feel like they can run through a wall. Do you remember Braveheart? They can take our land, but they can never take our freedom. Right? I want you to just go for it, okay? Person A, off you go. All right. Round of applause for person A. Round of applause. Very nice, very nice. All right, so let's hear from person A. Any of the person A's, how was that experience for you? Any of the person A's, how was that? Uncomfortable, why? Putting yourself out there? Yeah, because what?
I felt ridiculous.
You felt ridiculous. Did you feel less ridiculous as time went on? No, not at all. Interesting. So we might be bumping up against some belief systems here, right? Like, ooh, I don't know. I can't look silly. I need to look professional. I don't know. Are people going to judge me if I, really stretch outside my comfort zone? That's what this is for. What would happen if you didn't care? What would happen if you just had fun? Nobody's judging you right now. Do it. No, I'm judging you. I heard that. That was ridiculous. No. All right, person B, you're up.
Wait, was this?
Person B, I want you to deliver Mary Had a Little Lamb like this is the angriest story. Just, you're pissed off by Mary and that stupid lamb, right? I want you to make person A just be like, oh man, let's go get that Mary, right? All right, face, voice, physicality, off you go.
Oh, that's
Okay. All right. Person A, how did the person B's do?
great.
They did pretty good. Did you feel like, let's go get them? Did you feel like, we ride at dawn? Did you feel it? Okay. Now person B, not to be outdone by person A, now I want you to give your Braveheart impersonation, the most rousing, inspirational speech that you've ever given in your life. Make person A feel like, yeah, I can do anything. Let's go, Braveheart. Person B.
Mary had a little lamb, whose fleece was
person A, give person B a round of applause. Give them a round of applause. Okay. You tell me what you learned from this activity.
Don't go into acting.
Don't go into acting. Note to self. Let me get more specific in my question. What did you learn about communication from this activity?
That you can project kind of the emotion that you're conveying on the other just by the tone of your voice.
Yeah. Isn't it a little fun to be able to have an emotional impact on the person you're communicating with? What would happen if you brought 15, 20, 25% of that into your everyday communication? We just swung the pendulum all the way over to the other side, right? But just think about all of your interactions and conversations that you're having throughout your day, all those impromptu conversations that you have with people, where maybe being a little more emotionally expressive would actually create some connection. Instead of, somebody comes to you and they say something really sad. Oh, that sounds terrible. Oh, that sounds terrible. 5%, 10%, right? It doesn't require a whole lot. But I think for most of you, there probably is room for you to just be a little bit more emotionally expressive. What else? What else did you learn about communication from this activity?
Doesn't matter the words. Doesn't matter the words.
It doesn't matter the words. The word you could say blah 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 blah. Communicate everything through my physicality, right? It doesn't matter. It's about the conviction. It's about the connection and the impact that you have. And somebody wanted to say something else? Yes, sir.
My grandmother used to always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
There you go. Mic drop. That's essentially it. So I want to encourage you all, take a little bit of this into what you're going to be doing tomorrow. How can I be just a little bit more emotionally expressive and connected to my ideas? It's going to make a big difference, not just on the impact that you have with the people you're talking to, but it also just makes it more fun for you. It really does. That's the secret of communication. Thank you for playing. You can have a seat. Thank you so much. Now, so that's in-person communication. How many of you are a little nervous about those media interviews? You're a little nervous about the media interviews? Because honestly, unless you've been trained to work on camera, it can feel a little daunting, right? So I'm going to share some of the technical stuff about on-camera interviews so you can feel a little more comfortable in that medium. So the first principle of working on camera is adjust to the frame. Whenever I was working on film, TV, movie, I would always ask the camera operator, how tight is the shot? Is this a close-up? Just my face? Is this a medium shot, waist up? A two-shot, me and another person from the waist up? Is this a long shot? Maybe I'm walking down a hallway and they've got my whole body in the frame. Knowing the frame would allow me to adjust my physicality and my performance. So let's apply that to what you all are doing. If you're doing a remote interview, you're in your home office, you're talking directly to the camera, let's consider that to be a close-up. I know sometimes more of your torso is visible. For our purposes, it's a close-up because you want the focus to be on your face and on your voice. So now I'm going to get a little technical. I'm going to do a little demonstration. Pretend I am in my home office, okay, and I'm doing a remote interview. This is my little camera right here, this little point in space. It looks like I'm looking at you, but I'm not. I'm looking right here. So I'm doing a remote interview. The second principle is less is more. Working on camera, let the camera do the work for you. It picks everything up. So you still want to be emotionally connected to what you're saying, but just trust that you can be grounded, conversational, just talk normally. The camera's going to pick up everything. And use the fact that you've got to look into the camera instead of resisting it. Go with it. Use it to focus and direct your energy into that one little point in space. Less is more also means slow down just a little bit. slow down your speech, because sometimes when we get nervous, we can start talking really, really fast. Slow it down just a few clicks. Give your brain and your mouth some time to sync up. Less is more also means you don't need a whole lot of hands, right? You want the focus to be on your face and your voice, not your hands. So if you are a gesturer like I am, and you want to gesture, the safe zone is between your shoulders and your waist. Right around down here. That's probably not going to be in the frame. Again, know the frame. So right around here, unless you want your hands to be in the frame, then you've got to do a little bit of testing to see how far do I need to bring my hands up to be in the frame. Probably around your shoulder, right here. You don't want to block your face, right around here to make your point. Right? Less is more. Less is more also means you want to resist the urge to nod along throughout the interview. You don't want to be a bobblehead in your interview. And there's a couple of reasons. Number one, the host or the interviewer may be saying something or framing something in a way that you don't actually agree with. But because you're nodding along, it's going to look like you do. And all they need is take that clip, put it on social media. The CFO of XYZ agrees with us, right? So don't need to do that. The other reason is movement steals focus. I'm sure you've all seen those interviews where the host is on one side of the screen and the other person is on the other side of the screen. And if you're nodding along, you are stealing focus from the host, and they don't like that. So the rule is when they're talking, you're listening. Breathing, waiting, making sure that you understand the question, and then it's your turn to speak. Okay? Now, so that's remote interviews. There may be times when they want you to come and do an on-set interview. They want you to sit at the big table with the host. Hooray! Very exciting. Just know that there's not going to be one camera. There will probably be 3 cameras. There's going to be one camera in a 2-shot, you and the host, or the hosts, if there's more than one, from the waist up. There's going to be a camera on you in a medium shot, camera on the host in a medium shot. So medium shot means more of your torso, hands are in play, safe zone is still in play, but you want to adjust to the medium. And the medium in this case is, this is a live interview. There's a warm body sitting next to you. And so you want to use that fact. So the third principle is the interviewer is your friend. Even if you've never met them before, this is the first time as you're sitting down. Hi, how are you? Assume positive intent. Assume they like you. Assume they're interested in you. That's going to warm up the interview and make you feel less nervous as well. And one thing that's going to help that is instead of looking into the camera like you would in a remote interview, you're going to look at the host. Just lock your eyes on the host. But you don't want it to be weird. We're going to have a moment. You don't want to, I'm looking at the host. Michelle told me to look at the host. I'm looking at the host. That's weird, right? Don't do that. It's weird, right? Yeah. Instead, you want to motivate the action. As they say in actor speak, you want to motivate it. So I'm looking at the host because that's what you do when you're talking to a friend. I'm looking at the host because I'm listening. They're interesting. Isn't that less weird? Much better. Yes. Thank you so much for that. So, adjust to the frame. Less is more. Interviewer is your friend. But regardless of where you're communicating, who you're communicating to, you're just having a conversation. You're just having a conversation with a friend. That gets you 80% there. You're just having a conversation. Now, so far, we've been talking about what I consider to be presentation skills. But there's a difference between presentation skills and presence. Those are 2 different things. Presentation skills are mainly about what's going on the outside. Presence is much more about what's happening on the inside. It's about your belief and your feeling about your own personal power. Personal power. We don't talk enough about personal power as it relates to leadership communication. And in my experience, people don't want presentation skills. That's just a means to an end. What they want is presence. And if you want Real presence, if you want true presence, the kind of presence that makes people want to know you, want to listen to you, want to be around you, build your personal power. That's great, Michelle. How do you do that? Well, if you think about people that you admire, that you think have presence, maybe there's somebody in your professional life that you look up to, maybe in the public eye, you're like, wow, I love their presence. I bet they have 3 things in common. I bet you get a sense that they know who they are and they're comfortable in their own skin. I bet you get a sense that they believe in themselves and their abilities, and that they're motivated and engaged in what they're doing. They have authenticity, confidence, and purpose. These are the principles of personal power. So this ACP presence model says that if you cultivate authenticity, confidence, and purpose on the inside, which are the building blocks of personal power, then you will naturally begin to express presence on the outside. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about how you can incorporate these principles into your preparation so that you're not only enhancing your performance, but also just in generally how you're showing up as a leader. So authenticity. I define authenticity as knowing yourself and showing yourself. You need to do both to be authentic, because you can know who you are, but not show who you are. I see this a lot with my clients. And you can be showing, but not be showing your true self. Authenticity is really the foundation of presence, because it gives you a comfort and willingness to be seen by others. Comfort and willingness to be seen. I know you were talking before about, I look silly, I don't know, right? Comfort and willingness to be seen. And this is important because people want to get a sense of who you are as a person. Yes, we make decisions based on your knowledge, your credibility, your competence, but we also make decisions based on who we perceive you to be as a person. And in many of these situations that you find yourself in, think about tomorrow, you're going to have, 5 minutes to make an impression with the board or with in the media interview. You don't have a whole lot of time to make an impression. And so the more open and authentic you can be, the more you can show your personality as you share your information, the more they're going to see you as a 3-dimensional human being that they can connect to and build a relationship with and trust. And so, before you walk into those rooms tomorrow, find some time, carve some time out to affirm your authentic self. Who are you? What are your strengths? Outside of work, by the way, because we tend to just focus on work. What do people know you for? What do they love you for? What are your values? What makes you unique, a little different than other people? What are you bringing to the table? What are those experiences that have shaped you into who you are today? All of that has value and richness. So bring that into the room with you. Don't leave it outside. So that's authenticity. And then there's confidence. And it's easy to think that confidence comes from having a lot of experience or being really good at something, but it doesn't. Confidence does not come from competence. It comes from your belief in your competence. Very important distinction, because that means that you can have all the experience in the world, you can have people telling you how great you are, you can have awards on the mantle. If you don't believe in yourself, you won't feel confident. And it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Imposter syndrome, anyone? I know what that's about. Back in 2002, I had the opportunity to be cast in a featured role in the touring company of The Lion King. Everybody know The Lion King? It's still on Broadway, 23 years later. It's amazing. Back then, it was the biggest show on Broadway, and the casting directors knew me from previous auditions, and so when the touring company came along, they essentially offered me the part. I didn't have to audition. Let me just put this in terms that everybody can understand. An actor auditions for everything. I had to audition for Woman in a Coma on CSI. Yeah. Can you pretend you're in a coma? Yeah, right? Everything. So to be offered a part in something like The Lion King was like, oh, it's every actor's dream. So "We want you, Michelle. Congratulations. Welcome aboard." And I said, "Thanks, but no thanks." I turned it down. Now, at the time, I said, I want to stay in Los Angeles and focus on my television career. But if I'm really honest with myself, I turned it down because I wasn't confident I could do the part. They believed in me. I did not believe in myself. I often get asked to work with talented professionals who are crushing it at their jobs. There's no doubt about their competence, but their lack of confidence in themselves keeps dragging down their presence. Therefore, their leaders don't feel confident putting them in front of a client. So we all get nervous. I was nervous before I came up here. But you can be nervous and still be confident. Did you know that actors don't have nerves? We have performance energy with the jazz hands. We've reframed our relationship to nerves because nerves are physiological, confidence is psychological. So have the nerves and still believe that you have the skills and the inner resources to meet the moment. And one thing that will help with that is to use your success stories. You all have been accomplishing and achieving things your entire lives. You wouldn't be in this room if that weren't the case, but we forget all the things that we've done because we're so busy doing. So catalog your successes. And you can use them in one of two ways. Number one, you can use analogous successes and apply them to the current situation. So let's say you've never done a media interview before. Have you done a radio interview? Have you done a homeowner's interview? Have you done a job interview, right? My sister just went through a round of job interviews. They're tough. Did you go through a really tough job interview? Did you get the job? Apply that to the current media interview, and your brain will go, wait, I've done something similar. I think I can figure this out. And then there's just plain old adversity and hardship that we've all overcome. Plain old just life stuff. Use those successes. The things that you accomplished that were really hard. Maybe you didn't know if you could do it, but you did it. You had to push through some obstacles. Look, we all have our stories, right? All have our stories. And I'm sure if some of you shared just one story of something that you have overcome, we would look at you like, wow, that's amazing. How did you do that? I don't know if I could do that. And yet we're so bad at giving ourselves credit for those victories. And they are victories. So the next time you feel like a fake, a phony, a fraud, next time you feel like you need a little confidence boost, remind yourself, I did that, I can do this. I went to night school to get that degree, I overcame that illness, I did that thing that was really, really hard, I did that, I can do this. I can raise my hand, I can do a media interview, I can talk to the board, I can have that uncomfortable conversation. I did that, I can do this. Then there's purpose. Last principle of ACP, purpose. I'd like you to look at the screen here and read these two statements to yourself and see if you notice a difference in how you feel. Anybody notice a difference in how you feel? Yeah, seeing some nods. What did you notice? A chore. Grueling. Yeah, Chris, you feel the same way? How'd you feel about the other one? It's an opportunity? Ooh, yeah. Okay, the first statement is an example of what I call a gotta statement. Whenever I'm working with my clients, I always ask them, what's the purpose of your talk? What's the purpose of your meeting? Whatever we're working on. I get a lot of gottas. I just gotta have this meeting. I just gotta give them the numbers. Just gotta give them an update. There's no real excitement or enthusiasm. It's just something they gotta do. Question for you. How often are you in the gottas? 25% of the time? 50? 75? Probably more than you would like, right? The second statement is an example of what I call a purpose statement. It's focused on how you're contributing something of value. It's focusing on the experience that you want to create. It's internally driven. So there's a positive emotional investment. Purpose makes you psychologically and emotionally engaged in what you're doing. Translation, you want to be there. Unless you're a really good actor, like Rita and Whoopi, if you don't want to be there, if you're not that into it, it's going to show up in your presence. I know we think we can fake it, but people can sense it. So create a purpose statement for yourself to elevate you from being task-oriented, gotta-oriented, check the box oriented, and trust me, I know what that's all about. But elevate you to being vision-oriented. How can I use this experience to not just create meaning for myself, but for other people as well? This may remind some of you of that hack. You go from I have to do something to I get to do something. Anybody familiar with that? So instead of I have to go to the grocery store, I get to go to the grocery store. That's fantastic. You've injected gratitude into that activity. Purpose statement is a level up. Instead of I get to go to the grocery store, I am buying healthy and delicious food for me and my family. Instead of I get to go on vacation, I'm creating beautiful memories that are going to last a lifetime. See the specificity, the intentionality? Look, I have a purpose statement for this talk because I'm tired. I've been on the road. I got to fly to Dallas and give this talk to these really smart people. Right? I had to, no, Michelle. We are inspiring leaders to step into authentic, confident, and purposeful presence. Sign me up. That gets me excited. That's what a purpose statement is all about. So I'm talking to a room of high performers. I feel like I need to say this. There's no perfection with authenticity, confidence, and purpose. Just get it out of your mind. We don't wake up one day and go, okay, I'm authentic. Don't need to work on that stuff anymore. It's a practice. Finding moments throughout your day to know yourself and show yourself more fully, to believe in yourself more deeply, to be more purposeful and intentional about the impact that you want to have. No perfection, only practice. I'm going to share one final idea for how to apply all of this, especially tomorrow. There's a concept in acting called the moment before. What's happening psychologically, emotionally, physically, before you walk out on stage, before you say your first lines. The moment before connects you to your first words so that it's simply a continuation of the conversation you're already having within yourself. And this is important as communicators because, I get to work with talented professionals on their presentations and keynotes, and I will always ask them about their moment before. I get one of two kinds of answers. Hey, so what's your moment before? What's going on in there? I don't know, I'm just blank. That means you're not present. Your body's here, but your brain has skipped town. Not ideal. Second kind of response, so what's going on in there? What's your moment before? I hate this stuff, man. Man, I just want this to be over. I wish I didn't have to do this. I just don't want to embarrass myself. Anybody relate to that? Yeah, we've all been there. But what kind of effect do you think that moment before has on your performance, on your presence, on the people you're communicating with? So use the principles of authenticity, confidence, and purpose to create a positive moment before to connect you to what you're about to do. What qualities of myself, what values do I want to bring out in this interview? Man, I can't wait to tell the story of what my company has been able to do. That's a positive moment before. That's going to help you to bring your best self to that situation. So, I want to thank you for playing. Thank you for stretching. Thank you for allowing me to share my purpose with all of you. As Dean said, I'm going to be around for the next couple of days, but I want to thank you. And as they say in the acting world, break a leg. Break a leg. We've got a couple of minutes for Q&A. What questions do you have of anything that I've said or anything that I haven't said? Questions, comments, snarky remarks. What do you got? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I have a question about authenticity and bringing a little bit more emotion in when you're delivering bad news, right? You're the CFO. You've just downgraded your guidance, and you're talking to a very angry investor.
And your question is?
What kind of, what's the emotion that you bring into that so that you don't come across as that robot delivery?
Yeah.
Right.
So this goes more to messaging. You've got to message it in a way that you're communicating, here's what happened, here's what we did about that, and hopefully you're also talking about the solution. Each one of those points in your message has a different emotional component. And also thinking about what is the impact on the person, right? They're probably not going to be happy about that. So bringing some empathy into that message and also in your delivery. Again, if you want them to feel it, you have to feel it first. So I have to tell you something, you're probably not going to like it. Here's the truth. Here's what we know. Here's what we don't know. But here's what we did about it. Now there's a little bit of lift in my voice, right? You see how I'm just walking through the different emotions, but I'm making sure that I'm connecting to each part of that message, and that's how you connect authentically. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. What else you got? Wow, you guys are good. That's it? You're ready to go? Put them in front of the board.
They're ready. All 3 settings right now. Boom.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think it is that people are so hard on themselves? Just society norms? Is it just individuals? Is it just, I feel like most people don't have confidence initially unless they can practice the thing. Why do you think that?
I think we've been socialized out of play. Because when you think about when kids are playing, they're not thinking about, do I look stupid? They're just like, yeah, right? And we get socialized out of that by all the things that you talked about. The schoolyard bullies, the teachers, the parents who are like, don't do that, we're in public. All of those messages we start to internalize and constrain ourselves. And so a big part of what you all are going to be doing today and tomorrow and the next day is finding that opportunity to kind of crack that constraint a little bit, which is why I really want you to use this as an opportunity to stretch. Just see what happens if you're a little more dorky than you normally would be. And encourage each other to be a little more dorky as you're rehearsing. Because there's a time for you to be a dork. There's a time for you to stretch a little bit, and then you can, be a little more serious. But at first, just kind of stretch the bounds when you're in rehearsal, because that's what rehearsal is for, is to look stupid. And then you can bring it back in. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
How do you stop the nerves or performance energy in its tracks? So you're presenting and it's going well. You rehearse the first intro a few times. You feel great, but then you start to get kind of nervous and you feel yourself speeding up, but you can't really stop yourself. What are your tips?
So you start getting in your head. Well, so I'm a big fan of having multiple tools in your toolbox and trying one after another. So the first is if you find yourself starting to speed up, slow down. Like literally force yourself to pause and speak more slowly. Take it down to 50%. It's going to calm your brain down. I don't have to rush. I'm in control of the time. So it's going to give you a signal, and it also signals the other people as well. Wow, she's controlling this room. The other thing is just breathe. Because when we get nervous, we're not breathing, right? And so the difference between anxiety and excitement is the breath. It's the same emotion, but we just need to breathe. So a couple of different techniques there. And then also the antidote to being self-conscious, because that's usually when we start getting nervous. Oh my God, I'm talking. Did I just say that right? Oh my God, what? The antidote to self-consciousness is other consciousness. Put your focus on the person that you are communicating to and simply have a conversation. It works because when you focus on the other person, it puts your brain in listening mode and it gets you out of the fight or flight, gets you in the prefrontal cortex. So lots of different techniques. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. Let's party. I will see you at dinner tonight. Thank you so much.
Woo! All right. That was so awesome. Thank you so much. What a bunch of fun that was. And I don't know whether to save Ricardo Montalban for tomorrow. I'm going to save my accent for tomorrow. But in all seriousness, the presentation skills the tactics, the literal frame tips, the pro tips that we got, even the last three. How do I calm a dangerous trend with my energy? And then the things about presence too, right? The authenticity, the confidence, and the purpose. Thank you so much. It was really awesome. What I really want you to do is just take the 2, 3, 4 things that you're going to practice and just get out there and practice and fold them into your prep routine for tomorrow, right? Okay, here's what I want to walk you through for the rest of today and tomorrow. Tomorrow, I really want you to look forward to, you will be spending individual time with both Michelle Ann Johnson and Corey Green. Corey Green is from our Deloitte Marketing Excellence Group, and you will be, I think everyone's, if you haven't met Corey, will you wave? Yep, thank you. So you'll be working with both tomorrow as you do your media interview prep rotation. Before you leave, I want to ask you to spend 30 or 45 seconds doing something. You have your iPad? Grab it, open it to the day 1 evaluations. If the actual evaluation isn't appearing, swipe left. Not a joke, just do that. Here's the thing about those evaluations. Today, I'll give you live time to do that. On day 3, I will give you live time to do that. Why would we do such a thing? Because we really do treat that feedback as a gift. We want to know what you're experiencing, when you're experiencing it in the moment, because that's the way that we can make this experience the very best for you and others that follow. What we're going to do right after you finish this, and your reward for finishing the day 1 evaluation, be honest, honor system, is we're going to take a break. And then at 6:30, outside of the boardroom terrace, talk about where that is. We would all love to welcome you to a reception. Everybody's welcome. How do you get to the boardroom terrace? You go back to where you were headed to the market in the restaurant, right by the front doors of the lobby. There's only one staircase. Go up that staircase. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous weather outside, and that's where we're going to be. There's a terrace right outside there. So reception at 6:30. We would truly, truly love to have you. Dinner follows as early as 7. Just walk right out the front door and right down the hill. The barn has a pavilion right off the side, and that's where we're going to be all together. Okay, is everyone through with the day 1 evaluation? We're so grateful. Thank you for the hard work. Thank you for the energy today. We're going to do our best to help you manage that energy throughout. It's why we ended the day with such an energetic and really positive speaker like Michelle. Thank you for day 1. See you in about 30 minutes.